The only reason we ever own
All right, hello everyone. I'm Michaela Dunwell.
I'm Bert Cherry.
Yeah, awesome. We're here for round uncertain after the New Year's Christmas break of Super League. The Northern Flyers in white play the Southside Riptide in blue. I think, don't anybody bail me up on this, but I think Southside Riptide are tied for first and the Flyers are somewhere below that. I'm not sure how far below, but yeah. Should be a good game. It's a bit windy. Bit of an upwind, downwind, you reckon?
Uppy, crossy, maybe a little bit going toward the camera and to the left.
Uppy, crossy, I like that. Seems like Flyers are going to start with the pull.
Okay, so we watched a little bit of Super League in preparation today on my account.
Yep.
In the game that we witnessed, there were 4 pulls inbounds.
Yeah, 3 or 4.
I'm sure that was a fluke. What are we setting the guess on inbounds versus out of bounds today?
I really like to say that some sort of deliberation over the skinniness of the field, perhaps. Oh yeah,
it is quite skinny.
Oh yeah, it looks a little bit skinny. What was the question? Pulls that will land in. I like the first pull to set the tone, but if I was like betting lady,
I think it's a lot more likely they'll land in bounds now that they're widening the field.
That's so true, yeah. I mean, playing the numbers game alone, you're dead right. I want to say more will land in than not, but I think there'll be blades. I think blades will land in, and I think anything that's floaty may go out due to this wind.
Honestly, a bit of a blade to roller situation wouldn't be too bad. Pin them down on the camera side. We'll see what they do, though.
Yeah, well, now that we can only see one side of the field, it probably bodes better for the width, I would say. We'll see what they can whip out when the pull goes up, hopefully soon, because they're 10 minutes late. It's very classic, actually, Ultimate.
I heard it was 20 when I first started playing. That's Ultimate time, so this is professional tier.
It's positively on time. That's so true. What do I know about these teams? I know a little bit about these teams. I know that Southside Riptide has looked, I would say, arguably the same in terms of core playership for the last few years. And the Flyers have had some regularity, but lots of young, exciting, athletic players on this Flyers team. And so we'll see what they can do with this first pull, which is going to go... Oh, it's it. Oh, very nice. Well played. Good intention setting, Oscar. And we'll go Wilson and Jack. They're missing some of their core handlers at Southside.
As anticipated, the attempt to trap on this lower side is going. Or I guess it's a both side trap for a person cup.
Yeah, kind of forcing the middle maybe, or trying to just keep it down the sideline, but... Probably this side that the disc is on is more of the high side. It's still not great though. Yeah,
it seems like the response, and this makes sense with the idea of fewer of their core handlers, a lot of people trying to enter the popping space and less offering the wide options to change the point of attack.
Oscar to pick up, Wilson on the mark, back to Marty. Rock solid in the dump space, really in any space, but he's going to go head off deep. Off to Alec.
A lot of curl cuts coming around the vertical stack and some good swing opportunities. Not really acting like there's a low side per se, more just moving one side of the stack to the other.
Yeah, quite a flat mark. Oh, that's a good look for Jordan. Young little athletic boy is going to go all the way to the end zone. We'll see. He's just trapped outside, so we'll see what his patience is like. It's always a good testament. Looks a little bit stressed, but gets the job done.
A little lack of organization, but the floaty throw makes it happen.
Yeah. Hits Appleby in the back corner.
Mid
end zone
corner.
The wind is also a bit inconsistent.
So I'm not sure on the possession for the Flyers there what the stall count was, but it sort of felt like that was a instant turn and look by Oscar. Had to throw it and couldn't really give an opportunity to make a move.
Especially with Johnny quite in line. And I'm very confused by this wind.
Now it's more just uppy downy.
Yeah. Just an uppy downy wind.
So that was an upwind for our first upwind hold. We'll see if the trend can keep going.
Do you think they'll play zone, or do you think they'll play match? Quite a flat mark on Southside Riptide.
You know, I'm not a mind reader. If it was me, I would probably try match one way, match the other way, little zone, maybe a force middle. Get really saucy with it.
Oh yeah, just throw lots of different things. A great pull, lands in.
2 for 2.
Yeah, pulls are going well this game.
Looks like what was low side mark.
Bit of a split stack by the Flyers. Kind of trapped in their own end zone though. Johnny might look to put somebody deep, but goes under to Alec, who hits 30 coming through the middle. Speedy boy.
Looks like a melt into either a vertical stack now, or perhaps everyone's just a little bit eager to get into the action and giving up on covering the full side. No, it's a definitive vertical stack.
Oh, unlucky. Just a bit behind 30.
Nice attack by Ferdy to get that space open.
Yeah, it's that jab step on the boy. He gets very free. We got Wilson to James, back to Wilson. Marty's calling for an around mark. That does make life easy.
Oh, well caught.
Getting quite flat, maybe quite flat on the mark in general from both of these teams. Leads Wilson into this tight space, who then throws it and then dicey down the line, but crammed in the cram hole.
Yeah, it sort of feels like the flatter mark pushing throws wider toward the furthest extent kind of takes some of the sauce off of the rotation, which you need to slice into the wind. That is now, I would say, a little bit more crosswind coming toward the camera.
Yeah, where Ferdy picked it up is definitely the dirty corner. Got it out of there quite well.
That's a lot more pleasant of a name than we have in the States.
Dare I ask?
Coffin corner?
Oh yeah, like same sort of thing. I think I've heard coffin corner before, but yeah, dirty corner is probably what we use here.
I think that's preferable.
Oscar, zip it through the middle. Keith also zip it through the middle, but runs that angle a bit too tight. Riptide's super keen on this, like just get the block, boost it deep. Not always picked up, but I like the space creation. Jack's going to send it to a very free Matt Gordon. Matt Gordon? Yeah. Looks like him. I'm not very great with the numbers.
Yeah, you did it.
Nice, thank you. You're welcome, Matt. Got to take a little bit off that going downwind. Jack, the limbs, they're quite long, good levers, but makes it a bit speedy. Marty's going to pick it up.
Little glimpse of the women's side in our background as we bring the disc back into play.
Red versus
black?
Black, yeah. And there's a white team coming this way too. Oh, I reckon that's Steph Childs with the score. Yeah. Going purely off the hat alone, actually. Marty's tapped it in, put it down the middle. It's going to dish it off to 30. Johnny off to 30. Everyone's running deep though, which is quite a hard throw. But Marty back in the handler space, solid as always. 30 re-offers. Marty boosts up the line. Good little flash by Wilson to maybe ward Ferdy off the throw. He's going to boost it to Marty, who is a big man. Unfortunate, just came off the hand, bit windy.
It's a real tough wind in terms of it just will take a lot of heat off, and you can see that the edge on the disc just dropped it down a little bit faster than anticipated.
Go Wilson to Jack. Jack to not Brill to Wilson. Gonna make him work for it though. It's a nice little floaty throw actually. Through the middle of the Brill. Brill's gonna send it, but he's kind of shanked it. I think he's gonna call a foul. Marty says, give him a little pat on the shoulder. Says, yeah, I think probably was a foul. Accepted foul. Get an extra little look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, a bit of leg in there. Hard to throw around that frame.
It's a tough thing because Marty's doing what you should do in that moment, which is look downfield, see where the threat is, and just doesn't realize that his match is stepping through at that exact moment.
Yeah, unfortunate.
Good no contest.
Wilson's looking deep, looking back to Brill. Brill's looking through the middle as he always does. A lot of people in the handler space. Ryan comes all the way back, pushes Wilson out. Surely
that's a lovely edge.
At a high stall, I would say as well. Some sort of call signal, perhaps out the back, maybe. That's a really look. The art of a high stall catchable throw is something that, like, it's tricky. So, yeah.
Without lines, I don't know how much our replay is gonna give us.
And the angle isn't ideal. They've decided it's out. But again, the throw, catchable, up in the air to advantage. It's good when you're in a bit of strife. I would say Southside Riptide put themselves in a bit of strife there with too many people vying for the Frisbee though. Marty's going to bring it back up. Oscar, as I dump 30 front of stack, do some fancy shimmy behavior, I'm sure.
Pretty deep stack for going into the wind, but it looks like, yeah, maybe we'll just run straight through a little pick.
Two big humans, Jack Donaldson and Jonathan Warren White.
That's good communication on the side of the Flyers to anybody's disc really there.
Oh, a nice break from 30. And you just can't be throwing that in the wind, unfortunately. Brill's going to look to go. There's nobody going deep, so him and Wilson are going to do a little tic-tac-toe together. It's their favourite thing. Oh, good pickup, Johnny. And now it just throws it straight to Marty. I like doing that too, but I try to make sure he's on my team. Ferdy's just going to send it. Marty's under it. He's incredibly difficult to get around. They've kind of D'd one another. Wilson's stuck in the middle. Not sure he did too much. Yeah, two of the big men. Appleby to pick up the disc. Hits James. Hits
nice
Wilson. Somebody going deep. Jack Donaldson. Oh, nice little.
I thought he was winding up for a huck, and
I was like, send it. He's going to send it back. Brill's going to come down. Hits Donaldson, who hits a spicy blade to Oscar again. Yeah, I'm sure he's fun to throw to as well. Oscar throws flight floaty one that Marty calls a foul on. Did throw him into a bit of a foul.
Thrown into a foul, and it's one of those moments where you wonder, did we deserve to catch that disc?
Yeah. Probably not on Marty's part though.
No.
I think that Oscar just got a put a couple more revs on that Frisbee going upwind. Downwind, you can throw those. A reenactment in the middle of the field.
You know, it's a tough game because one of the points you're going upwind and then the other point you're going downwind. So your entire throwing form is just flipped upside down each point.
That's so true. I was talking about adaptability with somebody though, and as my greatest wisdom, Sarah Brereton from Chaos Ultimate says, the people who adapt to the conditions the fastest are often the people who win the game. So, tricky, but adaptability, very important. Still talking about it though.
I would submit that either way, bending your knees when you throw, that could be a constant. Don't really need to change that one too much.
That's so true. Consistency in your throwing form is obviously advantageous. Bit of a specky from Jack there, so I do understand where Marty is coming from. Here's Sam Cahan on the background. He's got an opinion. Jack's going to keep the disc. After a call that went for far too long, he's going to dump it back to Brill. Hits Wilson. Everyone goes to the break side, but there's not a mark, so it's hard to know which is the break side.
Oh.
I like the look. Quite spicy going downwind. Spicy in terms of fast.
Maybe
we talked about the misunderstandings of Australia, using the term spicy in Australia.
I understood your meaning there.
Yeah, you get it.
Maybe should have bent his knees less.
Yeah, maybe. Calls for cuts. Everyone's, again, going quite deep, which makes life really difficult. No around call on the mark, which is really what you want to be doing. A grey Lau from Oscar, but it just died on him, unfortunately. But a fantastic effort. Hits Brill at the front cone. Harry's land out in front of him.
Hopefully he's all right.
Hopefully he's okay. He's young. They're springy. They usually bounce quite well, the young ones.
I think with the amount of wind, what we're seeing is that the Flyers, in their attempt to go upwind, their stack was just pretty far away, maybe 10 meters to the first player, maybe a bit more. I don't know. I'm not so good at metric system stuff.
Yeah, you're doing well though. I would say distances-wise, you're solid. A nice layout from Oscar.
And that just allows everyone on Riptide to take away the unders. Those deep cuts then come after, a couple chop downs and you're late in the stall. And we've seen what happens with them. They just kind of peter out or tail over and are pretty hard to read. You get a whole pile under. I wonder what would happen if they just took, 5 big steps in.
It's true. And also, look, that was a long point, and one of the first turns at that point was Ferdy bringing it on this corner, and they had a really good sequence of play across the field where they got it back into the middle from a number of shortcuts. So,
absolutely.
They definitely have it.
Maybe a midpoint adjustment on the defense once they realize the game for...
That's true. And this downwind does make your defense, if you're playing downwind defense, a lot easier because it is hard to throw up into that wind. Brill with the pull. Probably makes the brick mark. Again, wind, tricky. Uppy, downy.
But we're 3 for 3 now. And
that's true.
The commentator's reverse curse is in effect today.
Yeah. Settle it, everyone. I'm sure I could change it. Oscar hits the step, goes under. Goes back to 30 anyway in that dump space. He hits a really nice inside. To Alec.
Transition from horizontal stack to vertical now as they're closer to the end zone.
Oscar's going to look for that open side. Nice little floaty one to Johnny.
Wind has calmed down slightly, so we might see a little bit more edge on these throws.
Some real body art going on this dump between Ferdy and Wilson. Oscar has to send it high. It's quite a high stall. Wilson gets the hands on that, I reckon. And then Southside Riptide, as they've done probably for many years, get the disc moving really quickly. Already sort of up to their brick mark, out of the danger of the end zone. Brill to Wilson. He's looking, but there's nobody really there. That's Froud. And just tries to squeeze the lane. Ferdy's giant hand is there. Says no thank you.
The Ferdy-Wilson matchup is really fun to watch.
It's very enjoyable. And, like, they know each other very well. Unfortunate cold drop from 30. A nice inside from Johnny too. Calls a timeout at the beginning of probably another monstrous point. Sucking in some breaths. That's the Christmas New Year curse for you. Everyone's just... Oh, we see a replay of this upwind throw. You can tell Oscar knows. It's no bueno.
Is that a drop and a throwaway?
That's a great question, Mike. Well,
technically not a legal receiver at that time.
Yeah, technically this is where I was going to go. Can't touch the Frisbee. So did touch it, but is he even there?
Equivalent to hitting a spectator with the disc. Throw it straight out of bounds and into a spectator or a tree, I would say.
Oh, yeah, a tree I get around. I was like, what's a spectator doing on so close to the sideline? All right, this is my favorite question. What do you think is being said in the timeout huddle? That is definitely not 75 seconds.
Oof.
You can pick one team. You can do both.
Yeah, I'll say Riptide is looking for a little bit more organization. You cut in, you leave. This is how we clear. Maybe thinking about continuation cuts. If I'm seeing some gesturing backwards, so maybe if we get a swing backwards, we need some motion in the direction that the swing goes. I think Flyers are probably pretty focused on just getting a stop in this short field upwind scenario, so probably talking about some front pocket defense. What would you call that? Front pocket? Take away the unders?
Front cone. That area, yeah. Yeah, I've definitely heard front pocket. Just like no cone. No front cone is probably what's most commonly said.
What would you call it in the big field if you were only focused on taking away the unders? Obviously, someone such as you is focused on winning every single space.
I'm well out of my forte here. I'm only actually deep ranges, and then I just pass off anybody who goes under on me. Taking away the unders probably. Right. Yeah, maybe front pocket is more reserved for the end zone, but yeah, take away the unders.
Thank you for being my trans-Pacific translator.
It's honestly a pleasure. I'd do it anytime. If you were here for longer, we could do it again.
Excellent.
Yeah. You'll have to return for next season's Super League.
If I come back to Adelaide, that is exactly why I'm coming back.
I have no doubt. Wilson's brought the disc in. He's looking to dump to Brill. They're going to swing it around back to this low side. Sort of to this low side.
Wilson just trying to do a lot of work.
Shimmy's
really the only option.
Shimmy's Oscar out of the face mark, though, and then just shimmies Brill out of the throw as well. 30 strikes up line. Very powerful. Sends it deep to Johnny. There's a bit of experience versus athleticism there, and as per usual, experience does win out. But Jordan, good chase down. Johnny just knows too much.
I'm so grateful to hear that experience wins out.
Yeah, yeah. I say that being the inexperienced one of this duo, actually.
There's one thing that we can agree on, and that is that left-handed players are just innately better at the sport.
I totally agree, yeah. I'm glad we're on the same page regarding that. Particularly on the trap sideline, like I really struggle. I wonder if you feel this way, but like the right-handed trap sideline is the sideline that I frequently like to break off of the most. And I find it probably easier than breaking off of the trap sideline in like a high wind scenario. I'm not really sure why. I think it's just because marks are ready for the right-handed throw. But as a lefty, you get a bit of extra reach, maybe.
I think for a left-handed player throwing the around, I've thought a lot about this because it feels just so unfair that I'm better than I think I should be at doing that. The left-handed forehand is a faster release, and
that's a good point.
Marks are ready to shuffle and step back or shuffle and step lateral for a backhand release point, and then the throw has already gone off.
That's so true. Alec with the pull. It lands in. It's very nice. Floats a bit. Jack picks it up, centers to Wilson. Back to Jack. He's actually got shorts on, which is very rare. I usually see this man in pants. Downfield to Brill on this low-ish sideline, but it's a bit floaty.
I was just going to laud them on their really great use of lateral space, but that one's a tough edge to hit.
Yes.
As was that throw up into the still upwind.
Yes. A bit low. Just dropped. Hard to get. Brill to Wilson. James makes a really nice strong cut under, but to the break side, quite tricky to get there. The dad backhand drops in the wind, which is actually a Brill forte. He probably throws that throw better than anybody else I know. Marty picks up the disc, hits 31st. Quick, agile boy. He really likes this inside, and he's very good at it. There's a pick call.
One can only imagine that that's the case.
Being good at the inside? Or the pick call?
The pick being called. Yeah.
It is from a bit of a dicey spot in the stack. Not quite the back, but not the middle either. Foe's still looking for this inside, and then he hits the open to Johnny, and maybe Brill's looking for something else, not sure. Looking to help out somewhere.
Well, I think that's just a little bit more experience.
Maybe, yeah. Johnny, look, Johnny's been playing for a while. He probably is maybe the most experienced player, like higher level player on this field. Marty would definitely be up there, but I actually don't know. I sense it probably is Johnny. Do you have some insight, Mike?
Marty doesn't fulfill the high level.
What do you mean Marty doesn't fulfill the high level? How dare you talk about Martin? Marty, yeah.
I'd like to know if I took 12 steps that way, if that statement would be false, though.
How long have you been playing Ultimate?
22 years?
Oh, maybe. How long Johnny been playing Ultimate? He'd be up there. Yeah. Look, maybe, yeah, you want to play Super League?
We'll have a halftime chat.
Yeah, look, yeah, you go and maybe have a little halftime interview and then come back. Oh, yeah, we could do that too, yeah. Maybe Southside Riptide could use some of your knowledge. Use some of your experience.
Well, so far it seems like...
Oh, this might be the first out pull. Oh. And I said, you know what? That's my fault, because I said I think the bladey pulls will be all right. And that was arguably reasonably bladey, and it went well out. Who pulled that?
I can't recall.
Yeah, me neither. Maybe Oscar. I'd just say because he pulls, not because he pulls out frequently. Could have been Johnny. Could have been Alec. He pulled last time. Jack hits the inside really quickly. Wilson throws a lofty throw, basically not identical to what Oscar threw earlier, but pretty similar in terms of revs on the disc. It's an easy turnover. Oscar throws over Harry. Maybe a bit of a misread. Wilson gets a little nick on it.
Kind of a similar shape to the pull that sailed a little bit further and out of bounds than expected. So
that's true. Richard with the layout, picking up this Frisbee, puts him on the low side. Now Marty is my least favourite mark in the game of Ultimate. He's quite slow, but he knows how to use his frame. And that makes it really difficult. So Southside probably want to keep this disc moving, because once Marty's mark is on, it's very difficult to kind of shake him. And he's very vocal. He'll get his cup to move the way that he wants them to move as well. So this is a tricky zone regardless of the fact that they're on the high side, to be honest.
Also a little bit surprising to see that Wilson is the option to stretch deep.
That's true. He wasn't in the first time they played. And now they're kind of trapped in their own zone with still very deep options as Southside. Although they do have Brill back there, who is probably one of South Australia's best zone disc movers.
Oh, wow, what a good bid.
That was like head height.
Some really good chances close to the end zone for the Flyers, but just sticky hands from Riptide here.
They keep getting this disc through the middle, so between Marty and Harry, really. And that is the tough choice of going to this downwind side, because often it's the easier throw, but it can trail out of bounds quite quickly. And good Lord, that man is very far off the floor. I'm beyond laying out that high. I wouldn't be getting up after that. But he's going to pick up the disc and bring it in. Wilson's going to try and trap the sideline, I reckon. Sends it downfield, a little dishy off, back to Oscar from Keith.
Couple of potential picks, but more just switching defense and then front cone.
Yeah. Meet me at the front cone, says Johnny.
Over and over again.
Yeah, loves it. Can't get enough of the front cone. Zone, downwind, good idea. Flyers, very effective. Especially when you've got Johnny and Marty on, because that's a lot of size to compete with. And while Southside Riptide are a reasonably sized team, Marty and Johnny are they're big humans.
I think that was their second defensive point, pulling from the upwind end zone, and the second time that they ran the zone. Despite Riptide working it up on the first point fairly easily, it takes courage to go back to a defense that wasn't effective in the way that you hoped, but knowing you trust the conditions, you trust any adjustments that you're making.
And the wind has maybe gotten a bit stronger. Don't know, maybe a bit more consistently stronger? Not sure. Maybe I'll just shut up. I'll take that back.
It's tough to say. I'm shockingly cold for it being summer and me coming here from winter.
Sorry about that.
It's all your fault.
Yeah.
Why'd you turn up the wind?
Alec with the pull.
Big bladey
it's gonna
pull.
go out. Yeah, look, I take back my bladey pull statement from the beginning of the game.
The bladey pull would have worked if it was aimed all the way to the left instead of down the center of the field, though.
I was also thinking when I thought about it, and I've reflected on this now, is like for me, a bladey left-handed pull, it hits the ground hard and rolls, whereas for a righty, it's a bit trickier. Coming from this upwind end zone, which is when I first made my pulling statement. That's all right. Reflection is important.
And that's why you should always have a left-handed puller on your staff.
That's so true, yeah. And again, minimal revolutions on that disc going upwind means it just floats and it's very easy to pick off. Alec back to 30. Will we see Johnny at the front cone? Perhaps. Stay tuned. Back to Oscar. They are pushing the Flyers back, which is kind of probably what they want. Jack on the mark. He's looking for this inside, which is what Ferdy likes to throw, but he throws it anyway because he's just that good. Zips back around. Good recycling the disc from Flyers. Oscar's looking for 30, looking for 30, looking for 30. Again, minimal revs on the disc. Hard throw, hard catch.
It's often harder when you're throwing in these moments and you're feeling the high stall count to take the extra effort to step out instead of releasing up. And it's very possible that we were reaching the second N of 9 at that point.
That's true, yeah. There's a pick call. I'm not sure who called it. Somewhere in this front space. And you can see, with the exception of Wilson, who is outside of the back frame, although he won't be after this disc goes back, every single player is on that far side of the field. Which, great, that's a high side, but also cramming it down the cram hole historically does not work forever. So breaking the mark, which Wilson does, but to a really ramped disc that is picked up. Nice.
Very fortunately secured.
Yeah, that's kind of what you want to be doing though, and again, everyone's on that side of the field. It makes life really hard. Oh, good pick up by Brill. Bit of a juggle. Hits the dad backhand. Back to Froud. Froud, I'm not sure what happened there.
Just a no rotation shovel backhand, I think, trying to get a quick reset.
Marty shakes the head to Keith like, get going, son. Keith is a lefty, actually. I forgot about that. Get him to pull.
Get him to do everything, I would say.
Yeah, look, he's very good.
Just have Keith throw it to...
Somehow Oscar picks up that Frisbee. Keith throw it to Johnny.
To Johnny. I'm looking at my notes trying to remember names.
Yeah, it's tricky. Me too, but I didn't take notes. That's rookie error on my part. Got Wilson on the mark. He's looking to stop this inside, which is probably what they need to be doing on 30 more than they are, with everybody else stopping the arounds, to be honest. Hits Alec going upfield. Alex looking. Crams it into Keith. Just a bit tight. Crowd on the back shoulder. A good cut to get in front, but yeah. A tricky go. Jack's going to bring it in on the downwind. It's not a dirty corner. It's not an ideal corner, though. Riptide offering lots of unders going downwind.
Good instinct, I was going to say, on the mark by Ferdy to just jump into the lane after 2 counts in case somebody curled a cut.
Oh! I thought that was going to be a Callahan. Good pickup. Yeah, that's Ferdy's... Oh, is Jack going to look to send it? Yeah, he sends it really low, though, and Marty gets a hand on it. Is Frau going to get to it? He makes a good effort. Marty gets like a 2-handed swat on that. Ferdy's just insane level of athleticism means he can pop up into lanes and he can still keep track of where his player is, and they frequently don't get thrown to. So he's also very smart, but he does use his athleticism very well. Marty's going to pick up that disc. I've earned it, he says.
We're still seeing that tight and kind of far away stack, which doesn't avail them any under options. Little handler action.
Oscar does offer the deep cut, but Marty's like, no way, I'm not throwing that.
I think the deep cut just has to come when the thrower has momentum in an open lane.
Whoa, Brill, intercept. Agreed. Marty, D-Machine! Gets to the knee! Says that's experience for you, children. Just stop throwing to Marty.
Unless you're a flyer, in which case.
Throw to Marty more. Oscar has called the timeout.
Seems a reasonable choice.
With almost 40 minutes into this game and 5 points down.
Non-stop action is what they call it.
That's so true, yeah. Absolute workhorses. And a very experienced handler duo. Just slow and steady. Johnny and Marty keep the disc alive. Although that is a great intercept from Brill.
And just understanding what lanes everyone's looking for. I imagine that most of these players just know each other really well, and the relatively new ones are learning each other in this league format.
Yeah, it is. Like, they have played a fair few rounds as well. So definitely like lots of learning going on. Like I said at the beginning of the game, like Riptide, the core of Riptide have been playing together, although one of the, I guess, the core 3 in Wilson Tran, John Brill, and Ben Foley. Ben Foley is not here this evening. And they have been playing sort of the same style of Ultimate that they generally instill in that team, like year in, year out. If you are drafted to Riptide, you generally know what sort of Ultimate you'll be playing. It's lots of like quick lateral movement, and then basically like we've seen Brill do it a bit already, which is like straight up the guts. We saw Wilson try to do it just then, but Marty knows that. He's very smart. Sits up the guts and just gets the Ds. But that's sort of how Southside play. At least it has been for the last little while.
And I guess on every interception that they get, an immediate turn and go. It seems like whoever's got the furthest downfield distance will just sprint toward the end zone. So whoever that handler defender is,
gets on their bike.
I wonder if that's an extra level of gotcha, because it's usually the person who just threw the turnover that's looking at their throw and hoping, who then gets blown past.
Yeah, that's so true.
gets walrused.
What?
The reverse bookends.
Why?
Because if you put your hands, bookends, you put your hands up, and a walrus, you put your hands down, because it's the reverse.
I've never had a gesture for bookends.
Oh, yeah.
You just call it.
You go bookends, and you put your 2 hands on the side of your head like antlers, I guess. And this is a very interesting thing to try to auditorially explain, but I promise, the walrus is a real thing.
Being able to look at you, I get it. I've just never heard of that before, the reverse walrus.
For the viewers at home, just on the next timeout, do a quick Google of what a walrus looks like, and the tusks are what you do with your hands.
Yeah, just shoot a message to Mixtape and see if they could just flood the comments with some accurate descriptions.
It is currently 1 a.m. in Seattle, so I think that'll be tough for
Good pick up
current
from 30.
line.
Brill thinks it's down.
I'd agree with that assessment, but I'm not on the field.
So true. Yeah, 1 a.m. Seattle. That does seem a bit rough. They can watch it retrospectively.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Won't have the live tagged comments for the appropriate moment, so people will just log in to watch this game and see walrus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no good replay, unfortunately. Sorry about that. It's probably one of those ones where 30's like, it was definitely in my hands. Maybe the other side of the disc is touching the ground. Nobody truly knows. Wilson's having a giggle. 30's like, contested, send it back. Brill, I don't have a replay for you. You're just going to have to take it at face value. It's got to be like a reasonably high still count. 6 is what 30 is gesturing. Oh yeah, we'll get a little... Oh no, we're not going to get it. A great high stall throw upwind. Hits Keith, the lefty. Rock solid.
Keith bending his knees exceptionally so.
And now we're with Alec. Oscar gets exceptionally close as the dump. An unfortunate disc to the ground.
Depending on your point of view, that might be a disc doesn't lie situation, or maybe it's just unfortunate.
That's so true. Disc don't lie usually. A great under from Jordan, very free. Hits Brill. Well, I thought he was going to hit Brill, but he didn't. The next one hits Brill.
Good bit of power position, looking for potentially the crossfield blade huck that would sail out of bounds and elects for a much more secure flat swing.
But Froud does get it eventually, who initially called for that blade. He's going to hit Brill up the guts, his favourite spot to be. Little shimmy gesture into the backhand, hits Wilson. Minimal revs. That's okay, downwind. Wilson's like, get out of the space.
Yeah, it would be really helpful if the stack gave a little sway away from the disc instead of toward. But if you get a little bit of momentum, then you can catch the stack looking.
And the dump swing,
swayed.
Yeah, the dump swing goal works quite well. But maybe Matt Gordon for the score. I'll look on the replay. Yeah, Jack, and then he fakes the open. Johnny stopping this inside, goes back to Brill. Oscar tries to go, but misses the opportunity for the D and rues the day.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, the walrus.
So imagine those tusks are just your hands. That's what you do for the reverse bookends.
Thanks, Mike.
That is a really good walrus.
Yeah. That's outstanding technical effort. That's why he runs the show, I guess. Yeah, that's all right. No, I think to give viewers the full. We're all learning something here, Nat. I'm learning more and more about the calls of USA Ultimate, and I don't know what you're learning.
A couple names.
Yeah, names. Yeah, that's so true.
That it can indeed be cold here in the summer.
Yeah, true. And we are sitting in the shade, which does make it harder.
We're sitting in the shade. We're not playing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things going against us. There's wind.
Yeah, we can only do our best. Wilson with the pull. Is it going to go in?
I think we're back on trend.
Yeah, we're good. We're good. Marty's going to pick it up. Oh, it's going to have a little bit of a roll. Marty's going to say, Johnny, you got this. Johnny's going to take the extra 30 centimetres it gives on the roll. Southside Riptide.
Downwind
Rip out a zone. Wilson tries to get the block off Oscar, doesn't quite make it, now has to make up the ground. A nice inside from Harry. He drops the knees.
And that's the adaptability there. The team is going downwind, but on that throw, Harry is going upwind.
True.
And therefore needs to adjust.
Ferdy works miracles on Marty's throw, which pops up in the wind. What's he going to do with it now? Oscar pops through the middle, gets the around. Froud's going to take Marty out. He's going to go through the guts. Oh, maybe a hand on that from Matt Gordon, unsure. Now Johnny will throw this hammer. He doesn't fake it for fun. Goes to Marty, hits Oscar. Oscar might look open side. Back to Ferdy. Back to Johnny.
Good bending of the knees to hit that edge properly on the swing.
Oh, Matt Gordon close on the D. Johnny hits a scuba again. Wilson gets done by that for the second time. Turnbull fakes the hammer. Doesn't come. Goes back to Johnny. Goes back to Ferdy. Ferdy is very good at bending his knees. Probably one of the best. And Marty hits this really nice inside to Alec for the score. That's like very nice zone movement. Good knee bending.
If you're Riptide, do you go back to that zone on your next D point? Granted, that was downwind.
I think... Yeah, look, upwind zones, I quite like an upwind zone because I think lots of teams don't expect it. But I do think it's personnel based because often you play the upwind zone and you hope that people still chuck it deep and it goes out the back or something, you know.
Downwind zone.
Sorry, yeah, the offense is playing downwind, excuse me. Yeah, the D is playing upwind, like going into the wind.
Gotcha.
Yeah, sorry. Bad lingo on my part. Yeah, you hope that somebody ditches that out the back because the wind is a bit gusty, but with somebody like Johnny or the personnel like Johnny and Marty who can just drop that disc over the top to that short deep area, if it's not marked, which it wasn't with that I guess pommy zone, it's a really easy release valve.
Can you help me understand what you mean by pommy zone? Is that
four at the front, yeah, mark, cup, 2 points in a middle, and then 2 wings and a deep. The pommy. It's gestured by putting your British pinky up while drinking your cup of tea. I don't know why it's called a pommy.
Okay. I was wondering if it's like, is that a pomegranate? Is it the shape of a...
Nah, it's definitely a British making fun of thing. Jack does a veteran move and waits for the rolly pull to stop as well. Goes back to Brill. Flyers decide not to run a zone upwind. Froud, unfortunate, looks at his hands. They've let him down.
Absolute betrayal.
Yeah. Look, we've all been there. Ferdy picks up the disc. Harry cuts. Tight dump mark. That's a very spicy inside. Ferdy's probably got it if anybody, but Wilson gets a little paw on that. And he sends it deep to Froud. It's going to go right over the top. You called that earlier with the Flyers going downwind as well. Somebody gestured for that downwind.
Yeah.
Maybe it was Southside, actually, in the downwind end zone.
I think it was actually the same player was hoping for that same throw. And the angle on the cut was a bit better the last time they
came
went
down the
for it.
sideline.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Going wider into the angle of attack means that you can see just how much the throw is getting pushed, and instead it just sails overhead. It's a much harder back pedal to secure. Good attack by Bill.
Ferdy to Alec, back to Ferdy. Back to Alec. So it's a different coloured cleats. It's a lot. Back to Ferdy. Just Oscar's gone off into the deep space. Very difficult throw. Back to Alec. Little squirrely movement.
Riptide also playing some good bracketing.
Oh!
Monstrous.
Youch. Matt Gordon, kind of a hand block, kind of smacks it into the turf. Anyway, the disc hits the ground. Brill picks it up. He's trapped on the sideline, though, with not a lot, and then Jack gives him something going into the middle of the field. There's a poach call from Ryan Froud on this downwind end zone. Brill wants him to come under. Jack might send it, though. He likes that. Off to James.
Really nice spot to be.
He's a lefty too. I forget about that about James.
Great instincts.
Jack hits Brill. That's a very nice throw. I didn't think maybe he was going to have to work a bit harder for it, but it's hit him right in the breadbasket.
Sorry, Brill. We think that you worked pretty darn hard. Good job.
Yeah. Jack has been known to send people out the back.
Which we may have, in fact, seen earlier this game. Yeah, to the same receiver.
Yeah, like I said, long levers. Yeah, we just go back to this spicy block. Which is a bit sad because up until that point, sorry, Oscar, there's no score on here.
It's all replays.
Yeah, sorry. Up until that point, 30 Alec movement had been very successful for them. They'd made a fair bit of ground on that. Harry, I don't know. I'm just here to talk, buddy.
4-all.
Oh, 4-all, there you go, yep. I can tell you it's not half.
Do we have a half cap?
Yeah, so game... The half, I think, is at 8, Brill? Yeah, so game to... Whatever, just up is that, 15?
Sorry, half cap meaning time cap, where we take half so that they can mirror.
Oh, no, they don't have half cap. Like a half time cap, no. They just play the full slot.
So as
What's
it
done
shakes
is
out,
done.
the advantage is going to the Flyers, who had the upwind end zone to start.
Oh, that's a good point. At least to my knowledge, they don't have a half. I've never seen a half cap, but to be honest, I actually have not seen a... Yeah, Mike says they're not that organised. I've actually never seen a game that's this low scoring, this, like so far into the slot. Because we're 50 minutes in. 4 apiece.
Felt like with the break between that point, I assume that one of the teams called a timeout, but it felt like people were hoping that this would be halftime in coming over.
Yeah, I wonder if maybe there was a bit of a enforced timeout. Let's figure out what the score is and then get going. Because everyone seemed to be asking for the score, but nobody truly knew, us included. But that's not my job, so at least not in my opinion.
Somebody put a scoreboard in front of us, but nobody's been doing anything with it.
Yeah,
so
I feel like the crowd is slightly to our left, so I feel like maybe the scoreboard should go down there, but that's all right. I'm very distracted by this border collie. It's gone out of frame now, but there's this very well-trained border collie in the background of this game. At least I think it's a border collie. Oh, it's back. Yeah, that's a dog that goes back to its owner, I reckon.
I don't know.
Oh, there we go. It's just following the ball. Wilson with the pull. He goes, I think it's going out, and he's right. I actually don't think he said I think it's going out, but his that I heard from the other side of the field indicated to me that he wasn't very happy.
The and then immediate downshift to walking.
Yeah. There's no power in that walk. Oscar's going to bring it in. He's bricked it. Very smart. Southside have gone back to match.
Nice help defense on that under.
Yeah.
Seeing the activation through the middle and just saying, oh,
I'll just jump in there.
Number 4 is not running anywhere. I'll go.
Yeah. Jack, back to Wilson. Back to Jack.
I really liked that break side cut. And again, as a lefty, I'm not really sure why it wasn't hit so that they could advance a little earlier. Now we're low side and swinging. Maybe that's why the edge is tough.
Way to make sure of that, Jordan. A pick call, perhaps. Kind of got caught up in whatever, maybe. Uncertain.
Seems like the pick was called on Jordan's cut.
Oh, okay. He was quite free. But then it was also a break side option, I think, which warrants the freeness. Usually. The well's from Johnny, who says, I was not where I should be. Brill back with the disc. Looks to go break to Wilson, goes back to Jack. Has a little juggle just to put some extra excitement into this game. Brill to Wilson. Past it, laying out 30. Always danger. Are they going to cram it into this cram hole? Nah, Brill just is back for the dump. He's a very smart man. Hits Jordan on this front of end zone cone. Back to Wilson. Back to Brill. Makes him work for it. Brill says, I will do you the service.
I think this is almost certainly a travel call that pains him.
It was a god-awful throw, Wilson. That was not on. Like, what?
The thought was there, but I think that he thought, you know, this is straight into the wind. I better keep the nose down, and then that just stayed way down. Very fair travel call.
Yeah.
And we're back in, and the same result anyhow.
Brill, hand on his head. I bet he probably hurts a little bit. Southside 5. Flyers 4. I think what? We're on serve.
That is correct.
Yeah. I'm not very good with the math of Ultimate. I just
go play defense.
Just dumb defender. I'll just play offense on the turn. And even then, it's like if I score, I'll put the team in advantage. We might not have held any other points before that, but at that point, if my D-line breaks, we're up. I've also spent a lot of time playing with Marty, who is just on par with keeping track of the score, the gender ratio, all of that. So I'm a little lost otherwise.
He's been doing a really great job of keeping track of the gender ratio for everybody in this game.
He has, yeah. An immaculate job in this game in particular.
No mistakes.
Yeah. If I'm seeking any clarity, it will be straight to Marty.
You know, I think it really says something about my character that I'm pretty sure that no matter whether I'm playing defense or offense, our team is losing by like 2 or 3 points. Just got to work harder.
Which is interesting. Is that your mentality or?
No, that's my gut feeling at all times.
Oh, Jack with the paw. He throws this blade. That's going to roll out the back. Says somebody picked that up. Sucked in. She's going. Riptide get heaps of time to set up. They're probably all gassed because these points have been just terribly long. Marty gets on the jog because he's a stickler for time rules as Marty as well.
Would you say that, despite Marty jogging for it, would you say that that's a strategic play by Riptide to have a little bit more of a break?
Maybe. I also wonder, based on my last time of watching Jack pull, that he's just like, I just got to go in. But yeah, maybe it is a bit of a strategic play. Gives them a bit of extra time. Make sure they set up off this horror.
Nice response on the mark to take away all the options Marty's looking for.
Froud could have jumped in the lane there, but kind of saw it too late. They've still got them trapped in this downwind sideline, and I don't know if you can hear in the mics, but the wind has picked up. Back to Alec. Marty's going to boost up the line. He's going to head all the way to the end zone too. This classic Marty cut. Keith picks it up because he's left-handed. Off to Harry. Sounds like a big pick call. He's exceptionally free.
Can only imagine that a right-handed player in that situation would have tried to reach across their body with their dominant hand.
Yeah, maybe.
Or the reaction just wouldn't have been as quick.
And the release wouldn't have been as seamless.
Certainly not.
Keith, he'll look for this inside, a classic lefty throw, to be honest. And Alec looks for Keith, but
Max with an opportunity for Harry. Great bid, but no.
Yeah, good effort. And great layout for him. Harry's going to go flat on the mark. Jack's going to throw it straight out the sideline, which is probably what they wanted to do with this setup. He's gestured to Oscar for some reason. It's like, that's no good, was it? And he says, sorry, Wilson. Southside will come back in again. Marty will bring it in, rock solid off the sideline. Although Ferdy did have this really nice inside shot off this sideline before, but he's not on, I don't think.
Duty falls to someone else on the team.
Yeah.
Ferdy's providing help from the other sideline.
He looks fairly focused on something. Marty brings it in. He fakes Alex off. Alex? Who's that? Alec off and hits him anyway. Hits Johnny, who does have this upwind throw.
And
but
a great
they're going to
chop
keep
down
going.
by Keith.
Yeah, they're going to keep going on the unders as well. Johnny's going to go up the line, touch throw, not enough revs on it. Good pick off by Jack. He's going to classically send James deep. Brill and Jack are going to go together. There's probably a bit of a gracious travel call in there somewhere. Hits Wilson, hits Froud. Froud not quite in.
Not
Back
quite
to Brill. See how disciplined they are on this line here. Johnny's just using his body to get Wilson out of the play. Wilson with a little shimmy. Oscar with the D. Dad backhand D.
Would you rather throw a dad backhand or an offhand backhand?
I don't have a very good off. Maybe I'm revealing too many secrets here. I don't have a good offhand
would you
throw.
rather a team, if you were coaching a team, would you rather have players? Oh, huge bid
Massive.
with the aw shucks.
Oh, good Lord. I thought Brew was going to make somebody else lay out. Sorry. Your question again.
If you were coaching a team and you were saying, look, conditions are a little bit suspect. You got to have something that has a consistent and stable edge. You need a secondary backhand. Would you rather your players learn the dad backhand with consistency or an offhand backhand?
Personally, I think that the dad backhand is okay so long as you're using your body to help you. Often I find the dad backhand gets blocked when you don't use your body to like shield the disc.
So like sticking your butt out or maybe doing something with your offhand to help shelter in one way or another.
Yeah, so I think the dad backhand, so long as it's used properly, I would say, in my opinion, the offhand throw, at least in South Australia, is more likely seen in the men's game than it is in the women's game. I think probably even in maybe Australian Ultimate, there's probably not that many women who throw offhand. There's a few that I can think of, but there's not as many as the men. So I would say the offhand throw is probably more of a men's game throw, which is maybe why I against it. Because
allergy? Or
yeah. The allergy of unfamiliarity. I think the dad backhand, but using the booty or the body to help protect that frisbee a bit.
This take surprises me a little bit because I thought it was a distinctly left-handed attribute, but maybe it's a left-handed handler attribute to feel strongly that everybody should have an offhand backhand. Yeah,
not a left-handed defensive receiver attribute. Jack with the pull. He's going to throw a blade. It's going to land in. It's going to have a little roll. It's going to come back.
And Alex the roll is stopped before it goes more upfield for them.
Controversial. Oscar picks it up, cocks the hammer. Definitely isn't looking at it, just got the back bend in, I would say.
I think that was a little bit of a disc space call, which seems fair.
Yeah, this cup is exceptionally close, still is quite close. Marty to Alec. Throws this nice little throw, probably to Oscar, but actually hits Ferdy, and Oscar and Ferdy are going to play a little tic-tac-toe on the sideline. Ferdy's going to break back to Marty. I think it was Bill who called for that. But didn't get it, but good offer. Again, Oscar Ferdy. Ferdy's going to hit this inside, because he loves it.
Good bend of the knees and a low release.
And Harry and Alec I think Johnny and Alec thought they were in, and then Harry was like, I'm not sure, I'll re-offer, but they decided he was in anyway. That's a really nice overhead, high release throw. It's not an overhead throw. High release throw. From Marty there?
This is a different zone that has the coverage in the middle. It may have led to some amount of that was the other team that was calling for some switches. Different style of zone. 3-person cup with a short deep in the middle. What do you call that zone?
3-3-1. We're all about the numbers here. We're simple beings.
And Palmy, which is not numbers.
Palmy is not a numbers. Yeah, I don't think any other zone has a name. My first Australian team, the Stingrays, all of our zones had names. I can't remember what they were now. I think one was called Ray Charles, the singer. Anyway, but other than the Pommy, usually it's like a 3-3-1 or 2-3-2. They're the only ones that I've played.
We are indeed speaking the same language then.
Yeah.
We just say 4-person cup, which is just like, it's a mouthful.
Yeah, I reckon the Pommy's Australian just because it's like, the Brit Australian thing.
Maybe it's just like, it's a big cup of tea. Is that where it comes from? That's how you say the tea.
I'm going to tell people that though. Why do you call it a Pommy? It's just a giant cup of tea.
Yeah, that's why we make that signal.
Yeah. Johnny with the pole, he's ripped this blade. It's going to go out, I reckon. Yeah, there she goes. Maybe pulling from the upwind sidelines a bit better rather than the middle? I don't know.
Or just adjusting by pointing your release a little away from where the disc is getting pushed.
Yep. That's also smart. Jack picking it up, bringing it to brick.
Maybe your run-up is so precise that you can only throw one release direction, in which case, either way would work.
That's true. All of my pulls look the same. Jack to Wilson. Jack does a little spin move for Wilson, which doesn't hit. And then he heads off deep, and he's very free. There's a bit of switch coverage. Brill's going to throw it, because why wouldn't ya? And, yeah, Jack's free. Yeah. Ferdy sort of looked into this space, but no undercut really came, which means there's no opportunity to switch, which means Jack is just very free deep. I feel like that's what I saw happen. So you can see Ferdy have a little bit of a poach. He kind of calls for help. The switch happens.
I think he was hoping that Marty would switch, but clearly they were not on the same page before that happened.
1 second, Bill. We're on a replay. It's 5-7. Yes, I agree with that assessment.
Which is a tough question in the moment. What's the level of communication and who do you need the switch call to be initiated by? With the helper in that case saying, "I've got you," and that's the default, be more advisable than the person who needs help? Or does the person who needs help just start screaming and hope somebody hears? Bunch of stumpers today, huh?
Yeah, these are some good questions. Anyone is free to weigh in at later comment times.
Yeah, let's see your answers in the chat.
I would say, as often the person who's passing off the under, I like to pass off under deep as the deep player because the deep is more likely to score.
It's a bit more threatening than
the underspace cut, but I guess that's also personal preference. Oscar to Alec. Back to Marty. A lot of people in this underspace, Ferdy and Oscar. Ferdy looks, Wilson sticks a foot in there. Down to Alec, who looks to throw it. Yeah, he's got it. It's going to Brill. That's a really nice throw. It's going to be out the back.
Incredibly lovely edge.
Yeah.
And incredibly deep.
Yeah. The call from Alex says, sorry, Oscar, but that's a really nice look, especially on this downwind sideline, because as we saw from Jack before, if you throw it flat, it's probably going to go out and not come back. Speaking of Jack, he's picking up the disc. See what magic he'll perform. It is very gusty. He's not quite in the dirty corner, but it's definitely the downwind end zone.
Looks like both teams forcing toward the camera sideline, and they're saying, oh no, take it a few yards closer to that sideline, please and thank you.
Yeah. Jack's trying to dump back. Quick release from Richard off to Brill onto this break side. Throws a little grasser. Wilson fakes a big one. And I'm not super sure what happened there. Brill, I don't know, just sort of thought, nah, I don't want this one today. Into the ground.
In the US, the term is butters.
Yes, so I've heard. Marty picks it up. It's Oscar, who doesn't hit Ferdy. Fair enough, the mark was there. Johnny, back to Oscar. The call for dump it. Wilson looks for the block, doesn't quite get it, does get up in time, sends it down to Oscar, who throws it over Brill's head. Oscar's pretty happy about that. Throws a disc into the turf, a little spicy.
I'm a little surprised that last throw held its edge as well as it did.
Yeah, fair call. Yeah, fair call.
Just bladey enough to get out in front. And I guess the wind just hit the flat side of the disc and pushed it right into the bread basket.
A lot of wobble on that Frisbee, though. Happens.
Hey, a completion's a completion.
That's so true, and I frequently say that, actually. I'm also being overly critical for somebody whose repertoire is not throwing.
I like to think about throwing, so I'll just keep talking. Oh, nice edge. Ooh, not good edge.
Yeah.
Very,
I'll pass
very
off my
refined.
uninformed commentary.
You can keep talking about the polls, though. That's for sure.
That's probably my joy. Although, look, if we're returning back to this pool conversation, good. They're landing in.
Yeah.
We've had the last few that have been out, actually, but in terms of like consistency, most of them have gone in. Southside will look to take half going downwind. You'd hope that they could punch it in. Do you reckon we'll see this Flyers zone again?
I'm not confident that Flyers will play it when Southside is going downwind.
Yeah.
They are talking a lot in a way where it feels like maybe there's a zone coming.
Nice high lofty pull. It might stay in. It's got a good hang on it, and unfortunately the wind's going to carry that right out.
A good sound of the scuffle captured.
Yeah,
on
across the
mic.
dirt. Marty, generous man that he is, he's going to go pick it up. Send it to Jack, who's around 3 meters from the sideline. Goes, that's legal. We'll allow.
Little gesture. Look at that.
A
Look how far
gesture
I
of
am.
goodwill. Marty says, I don't do that. Jack's through this middle, a bit poachy on the Southside Horror of Flyers, and just hits Gordon on the open under, who hits James, also on the open under, who hits Frout on a slightly more break side, but still open under, who hits Brill on the open under. Wilson does a shimmy. Brill hits him open under too. He's right on the front cone. Oh, he goes backwards for the dump.
So it seems like Flyers, if they took away the open unders, that would be helpful for them this point.
Probably, yeah. Although now they're kind of breaking back across the field because you can only cram it in the cram hole so many times.
Yeah, once you get to the end zone, the under becomes more difficult.
True,
if
less
not
under.
impossible.
Brill hits Gordon, who gives him a disc with zero spin on it. It's incredibly difficult to catch. Harry goes off deep. Johnny would be a fool not to send it, and Brill puts his hands right in the way. But you know what? Johnny gave Harry the thumbs up to be like, hey, that's my fault, and that's a great cut, because he was very free, and I respect that. And Brill's tacoed the Frisbee maybe at Worlds. You don't get a new disc unless it's like very tacoed or it's got a cleat mark in it, which I think is just absolutely ridiculous.
I wonder if that harkens back to an older Age of Ultimate where it was like, well,
Suck it up.
limited resource, also
Yeah.
suck it up.
That's true. Definitely possible. On your Brill for getting in the way, lots of people kind of put their hands up but duck for that, because get a Frisbee to your face or
At
that
that
general
pace.
area is painful.
Yeah, especially with that much sauce on the throw.
Yeah, Johnny really wound up on that bad boy, and Brill's going to bring it on the sideline with Jack as the dump. 30 as this dump defender is incredibly difficult, and Wilson's going to say, Brill, send me down the line, and that's a good, nice throw down the line. Riptide for half. It is half.
We have
For
made
all the
it.
people asking that it's half, it is in fact half. That's half, yeah. I mean, Riptide looking for more.
Celebrating making it into half, which makes a lot of sense after the first 8 points of the game, but we've really sped up the pace.
That's so true, yeah. But we're also at the 74th minute, and I'm pretty sure the slots are 80.
We were at the 57th minute at 4s, I think.
Yeah, wow, we have sped up a little bit. We will perhaps take a little break as they discuss how to throw in the wind, and then we'll return for the shortest second half of Ultimate I've ever experienced in my whole life.
Yeah, if you need.
Like it changes. I started playing in the States in 2004, but I didn't play like
And they're jumping this shot and they've got a few Ds
Let's take high level.
So I played my first region. I started playing a little bit. I started playing in 6. Which is cool because I think
I think that I have you beat on starting to play by 1 or 2 years, but there's
All right. Well, we're back for the second half. I'll just introduce that.
Yeah.
Johnny has we've asked Johnny how long he's been playing. He said high level competitive ultimate, like first tournament 2007. He
First
played his
tournament,
first regionals.
yeah,
He
yeah,
thinks it was in Adelaide as well, vintage. So less experience in that regard, but he has gestured to Richard Appleby, who has been playing a while, but Richard had been playing off and on for a while. Yeah. So in terms of like, yeah, I don't think I only met Richard like at League maybe a year ago. Yeah, right. As the pool goes out sailing over our heads. Yeah, somewhere. Yeah, I think keep going, Johnny. I trust you. Yeah. Went over us, so keep going. Richard Appleby been playing off and on. Played his first nationals a long time ago, as Johnny has informed us. But yeah, he thinks he stopped playing around 2012. So yeah, I reckon you're in.
top 2 at least.
Yeah, you're definitely up there. Top 5, no question. Johnny is very generously gesturing for where he believes the disc comes in, and I trust him because that disc did sail over our heads in our commentary box.
And we value experience here.
We value knowledge, and experience. And speaking of knowledge and experience, Marty Tonkin brings it up to Jack Donaldson, the opposite ends of the spectrum. Oscar goes up the line, clears the space. That's a really nice cut. Hits Bill. Bill to 30. 30 to Alec, and they're on this high side of the field, which is really where you want to be, to be honest. Alec to Oscar. 30 does some strange spin move. Wilson says no round. Brill does it the first time and then gets caught, but 30 has to go backwards, so that's kind of okay. Back to Oscar.
He did bend his knees on the upwind, so can't
That's
fault
true,
him for
yeah.
that.
Maybe a little low, just a little too far out. Be a nice throw. Jack's going to pick it up in this cone area. Marty on the mark. Brill's going to head off deep. Not happening. 30's going to get this layout block. No, he's not. Oh, my word. That's usually where 30 gets layout blocks. Wilson says, can somebody please come under? And then gets it back from Matt Gordon. And then off to Brill. He's off to the races, but Brill's made him work too hard. That was a lot of dirt. Probably a bit of pain.
Right in the dirtiest patch on the field. That's tough.
Yeah, Oscar picks it up, and he's looking for a cut. Nothing's really coming. 30 hits him from the front. 30 gets hit from the front of stack. Down to Harry. Now on this low side. Harry's looking for this inside, which is quite tricky with the mark. Shoots it over the top. I don't think anyone's touched it, which means Harry can't touch it, but good of him to be there. We'll watch it on the replay just in case.
Should have caught it and pretended somebody touched it was the call from the sideline.
That's the infinite wisdom of Lachlan Eichner. Just fake it. And Brill tries to throw the around. Harry says he's got a touch. I don't really care about the stats, Harry. It's not really in my repertoire. But at the end of the day, whoever, Matt Gordon maybe, doesn't keep his hands on it, and it goes out. Marty picks up in this dirty corner. Bill hits the first cut. Lots of people hit the second cut. Wilson calls for a no around as the around goes off. Oscar hits, I actually don't know this youthful boy's name. We'll have to find out.
To the notes.
Number 7?
Didn't catch that one in the pre-game interviews.
Oh, hold on. I'll just quickly ask Keith. Hey, Keith. That's a great throw from Oscar.
Well caught by Harry and dished in real quick.
Thank you. Sorry, we've learned that Hamish is number 7. Thank you to the other youthful individuals down there. I'm a bit old, apparently, so bless you, Ruby and maybe Zara. Yeah, Zara's sitting down there. Really nice throw from Oscar. Great layout from Harry.
Little tumble.
A little stumble. A little layout from Matt.
Am I on?
Yeah, I mean, I can hear you.
All right.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Technology is
complex.
Not my strong suit. I pressed a button. It's a mistake.
Yeah, just a mute button. I think
You gotta
I feel
hold
like
it?
Mike would tell us if we weren't on.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, you have to hold the mute button to be fully muted.
Excellent.
Yeah.
That's what I did.
Yeah, nice. And that's an upwind for Flyers. A really nice upwind, too. Maybe it's that Oscar actually needs to spend more time in this handle space because he's often making the deep cuts and nobody's super willing to throw it to him. So maybe he needs to throw it. What was that, Scott? 80 minutes, I believe. I don't know. Let's ask Lockie. He's a captain. What's cap? Time cap? 80 minutes? It's 82 minutes, so we've blown over. It's 8-7. Game to 9. I'm assuming it's +1. I'm guessing. 30 pulls it. It's gonna land in. That's a great pull. Gonna have to bring it in on dirty corner.
Really exceptional.
Yes. Game to 9. Well, or yeah, it depends on, I guess, who scores. But if your time cap technically went in the last point, Johnny with the D, great mark from Marty.
Honestly, this poll at this moment, if they can punch this in, could give them the game.
Yeah,
Who
that's
knows?
so true. I'm assuming universe point, but maybe they'll need to mutually agree about that because, yeah, nobody seems to be super sure when time cap went. 30's going to do some squirrely shit in front of the end zone. Sorry, excuse my language. Richard fouls Marty on the mark. Yeah, right, that happens.
We see a good stomp, side stomp.
Yeah. That might be Marty's gout toe, I don't know. Marty's, it's got to be stall 1. I'm assuming that was a foul call. Oscar's going to go up the line, but Brill's poached in that space He's hit Oscar a bit, again in this nasty corner. He's going to have to funnel something. Ferdy hits a spin move. And then hits Johnny with actually quite a nice throw. I don't know what you think. You're the throwing expert here, Bert.
Quite a nice throw. I think probably gets pushed down and away from him. Hard to see for sure. Just a lot of intensity toward trying to hit the front cone. And really, the issue is that Johnny didn't try to hit the front cone. He went
backwards. It's actually not in his area. Jack's going to bring it in again on this front cone. Wilson's going to give the deep cut. Jack's going to zip it into Matt, who's going to throw the around back to Jack. Doesn't quite get it, but that's all right. Richard's there to pick it up.
That's the true veteran experience.
Yeah, that's to follow your disc always. Hits the inside to Jack. That's a really nice inside, and he's just cold dropped it.
Ready to make some croissants later.
Keith with the lefty hits Oscar. Well, give it back to Keith. It would be rude not to. He's going to hit Ferdy instead for a bit of fun. Now Oscar and Ferdy are going to do some squirrely things in front of the end zone.
Seems like people aren't really sure whose space it is, and I think some of that has to do with some good switching bracketing by Riptide, but they find the gap and exploit it.
Yeah. And now my assumption with our knowledge of the cap is that it should be game to 9, which means this is Universe. So long as both teams agree, in which case I'm going to say to Lockie, hey Lockie, can you tell Flyers there's also Universe point if they don't know, just so everyone's on the same page? Thank you, Aaron Boy.
Incredible fairness by the fairness queen here.
Yeah, I love fairness. I was going to say another F word there, but I decided against it. Fun fairness fiesta. So yeah, Universe point. You would say Riptide are in the opportune position going downwind, but we did see Flyers ripping upwind, probably right where they needed it, to be honest. So anything's possible. What do you reckon?
Receiving going downwind feels nice in this moment.
Yes, I concur.
But the Flyers have the momentum, have the proverbial wind at their backs, if not the actual wind.
Oh, wow.
Ugh.
Linguistic genius. Yeah, the proverbial wind as the last pull of the game goes up from Alec, and it's going to go out. One would say, just, like, why'd you have to do me dirty like that, Alec? I had said good things about the pools, and I think since maybe we reverse commentated cursed ourselves, and since then maybe the pools have mostly gone out.
It could be 50-50 at this point.
Yeah. I'd love to run the stats on pools that go in and out throughout this entire league. Jack and Johnny having a little bit of fun. Johnny getting in the way. Ferdy on the mark. Froud hits the under very early. Doesn't get open.
Really lovely butterfly cut, but no go. Looking for the throw and go, and then reset instead.
Brill back to Jack. Jack back to Brill. Hits Wilson on the under. Matt Gordon going deep, which means there's a poach somewhere else because Marty's sitting quite drastically in the lane. Wilson's going to throw this nasty blade, which, as we have seen, is incredibly difficult. It flies out the back. Nobody's there. But Flyers have to go upwind, so we'll see. Marty's going to pick it up, I assume. Ferdy front of stack, probably. Oh, no, he's going to keep going. Alec front of stack.
It seems like some of the stack has moved closer to the thrower, but we still have a bit of space. And just a series of undercuts. Very smooth fake.
Alec makes the third cut. Ferdy comes up the guts. Alec.
That's great power position.
Marty's going to send it to Johnny, who veteran takes it in front. Not one for a foul call. I think he probably assessed that he had probably dropped it before contact really affected it, but not super sure. Jack throws a dicey floaty one to start because that's fun. Brill back to Jack. James is quite free on the under, but doesn't hit him. Oscar goes flying. Wilson picks it up anyway, down to Brill. Ferdy calls for the switch. Marty does pick it up. And then Brill sends it to Wilson, and Paska laying out Harry. Good effort, and the Riptide take this game.
Wilson really just hitting all the spaces. Wanted to say no more of this momentum.
Yeah, I've had enough. Let's shut this down.
Well, it's been a pleasure and an honor.
Yeah. Yeah, Super League. Truly super. Although we're still unsure about what's super about it. So maybe somebody else can answer that question for us. Maybe it's... I don't know. I've got nothing.
Head to the comments.
I was going to say
Let
something
us know.
whimsical, like maybe it's the super within us. Like
the super was within us all along.
the whole time.
And with that...
Yeah, Southside come up on top of Flyers, and then that's the first time slot done. We'll see Titans play East Adelaide Force in the second slot with somebody else commentating. It probably won't be as good, but we'll just have to make do.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Good luck,
Mike.
everyone.
ULTI.TV.
We leave all the serious shit to Ultimate.
We said something in the show. Yeah, you are.